Hey y'all, welcome to Just Talk with Denese and Amir. If this is your second time, or if you've seen us before, if this is your first time, welcome. Again, this is just a platform where Denise and Amir get together. We talk about whatever, nothing specific. We just talk. And we invite you to join in. We invite you to comment. We really want to hear your feedback, good or bad. We don't, we want to hear it all. Um, Amir, you want to say hello?
Hey, good evening. Hello, everyone. As she just said, first and foremost, we want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. We want to thank you for hopefully sharing this if you find the information something that resonates with you. So please share. Sharing is caring. More importantly, we really look forward to the feedback because it gives us even more things to talk about and more things for us to share and expound on. So please, just take a like, take a listen, and more importantly, just share. Tell a friend to tell a friend. That's what we do over
Yes.
here.
Okay, Amir. So I wanted to. We last week well 2 weeks ago when we got off, we kind of started talking about something. So I wanted to talk about that today, and it's relationships.
Okay.
Kind of sticky, but it's relationships, and I'm talking about all types of relationships. I'm just not talking about a man woman in a relationship. I'm talking about all types of relationships, friendships, whatever. This is what I want to talk about. So I want to start off with platonic relationships because this is an issue that I think a lot of people don't know how to deal with. Um, why can't a man and a woman be friends? Why is it that when you see two people who are of the opposite sex hanging out, having fun, whatever, it's automatically, oh, it has to lead to the bedroom. I mean, all relationships are not like that. And one thing that I want you viewers to understand is, and how we can talk about this. Amir and I have known each other for roughly 10 years. Me and I have never dated. We've never crossed the line. This is my friend. This is my homie. This is one of my best friends. One of the only people that I could say that about. So he's one of my best friends. I have a few, but he's one of my best friends. And a lot of times we go out, oh, they must be together. No, we're not. No, we're not. We're just really cool friends. So I mean, let's dive into that. And why is that? Why is it that people get this sense that when they see a man and a woman together, that automatically it leads to the bedroom?
Well, the first thing I want to say is, first of all, it's such a great topic because unfortunately, I don't think that we do enough sharing and expounding on things that we deal with on a regular basis. Platonic relationships, friendships, and things of that magnitude is something that we all kind of deal with almost on a constant basis, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's like you just stated, friendships, through the years. But I think the real reason why we trick on this particular situation is because two things. One, I think, is how we might handle a situation of that magnitude. Maybe somewhere in the past we might have tripped up, let things go a little further than they should have, which led to some resentment or led to some a bad feeling or a bad situation as you got older. And then the second thing is I think people just don't understand. Platonic relationships really stem from two people who find some commonalities that they really just resonate on. I'm a big proponent of saying that each and every one of us are like radio stations. And to be fair, when you go out here in the world, the energy that you're putting out into the world, whatever that may be, is hopefully what's coming back to you. And you have people in this world who move like you move, think like you think, and radiate the same way that you radiate, meaning they see the world somewhat like you do. And because of that, then they find themselves, wanting to do some of the things that you want to do. And that doesn't make it a good or a bad thing. It just makes it the reality in the moment. And I think we don't really understand how powerful that can be and what that looks like because again, I'm going off of maybe my past indiscretions or situations that I've found myself having to deal with in the past, as opposed to I'm here in the present now, and I should be present and not be so caught up in the past. You know what I mean? At least that's two of the parallels that I see. We kind of have a tough time
And
with.
I like that because I thought about that as well. I always think that when people think that they're thinking about their situation, a lot of people can't have a relationship with the opposite sex because it has to lead there. But that doesn't mean that everybody is going the way you going. And not only that, but you hit on, past indiscretion. My thing is, whatever you've done in the past is in the past. Sometimes you gotta let your past be your past. And when dealing in a relationship with someone and having someone of the opposite sex as a friend, that person, you need to, whatever your past was, that's your past. You have to let like you say, your present be your present and your future be your future. Because at the end of the day, you can't live in the past. You cannot live in the past. You can't keep going back. You can't blame other people for your mistakes or somebody else made a mistake to did something to you or you can't keep reliving. You can't keep reliving it. You can't keep doing it. One, that's only going to lead to you being miserable for the rest of your life. And who wants to be miserable for the rest of their life? I mean, get to a place where you're happy with you, and you want to. Let me tell you something. I mean, we come out, we go out all the time. We see a lot of stuff. I don't care who's with who's sleeping with who. I don't care. As long as you're not coming into my space with your mess, I don't care what you do. So I never think, oh, that both they together. I see people together all the time. I see them having fun. Unless they say we together, it is what it is. Oh, they're just two people out having a good time. That's the way I see it. But everybody don't see things the same way, and it's because it's so common. It's so common. Like, and I want another thing. A lot of times, it's deflection because you don't want anybody looking at you, so you have to make everybody look at somebody else to get the spotlight off of you. I get it. But how about just don't say anything at all? Because if you don't say anything at all, maybe nobody's looking at you. Maybe nobody will notice what you're doing. Why you gotta put the spotlight on somebody else instead of leaving it alone and spotlight won't be on anybody?
You know, that's another great point that you brought up. And it's funny because as you were expounding on that point, I thought to myself, two things. First and foremost, another part of any relationship or any situation is the two people involved in it. Technically or hopefully speaking, you're at a place where you're healed and you're evolved enough to have a open and honest conversation with the people who you're connected to. We generally have to have or do a better job of having those conversations. Are they uncomfortable? No question. Are they tough? Like you wouldn't believe. But the bigger picture is why not get that stuff out the way so that now you can get to the meat and potatoes of the friendship, which is being able to either call on each other, share, depend on one another, and most importantly, just have somebody who, outside of what your normal, spectrum is, a difference of opinion. We need that in relationships as they stand, especially when it's man and woman. You sometimes need some perspective that's just not in the mix because when you're in the midst of anything, you're technically so caught up in what you're dealing with that sometimes there's little nuances or things that you may or may not be able to see. But that's what having friends are for because sometimes they see things or at least bring to your attention things that you may not be aware of. And I think that, as young adults or as adults, period, that's something that we really have to do a better job on and work on. We can't just take everything at face value and or be upset by everything.
Right.
You nailed it when you said, there's the ideology of trying to figure out or deflect versus let me sit in or do some inflection, meaning take a good hard look at myself and see maybe some things that I may or may not have done a great job of dealing with, so that it doesn't resurface or it doesn't continue to be a part of what goes on in my real spectrum. Because dating is hard, being single is hard, friendships are hard, and they're hard only from the standpoint of what we bring to those situations and those relationships, meaning our outside insecurities, our inability to really be okay with the fact that somebody may or may. I'll always say it like this: the same things that you see in a person, other people see that as
That's right.
well.
That's right.
And I know that that's hard for us to see and to fathom sometimes, but that's the honest to God truth. But the bigger thing to what we're speaking to is being open and honest about how you deal with that, being able to see
Exactly.
those things and
Exactly.
what that looks like.
Exactly. Exactly. Which brings me to the next point of since we're men and women go out. Yeah, like you and I, we go out, we have fun. You can see us. He'll get in the dance floor, he dancing, doing his little hop, and it's all fun. It's all fun. And everybody thinks this, that, and other thing. But the other thing on the flip side of that is, okay, so you're by yourself. And this is coming from a woman's point of view, because I don't know what you men go through. I can say what we go through, but a woman sitting by herself, a man sends a drink down the bar. Okay, give the thank you, cheers. But the next thing they think they that gave them an opening to come and say, "Oh, I want to talk," which is not a problem. A hello it's men. A hello is not a problem. Hello is not a problem because we're all in one spot. Hello is okay. That's fine. Do you have a man? Yes. Do you want a friend? No, because friendships don't happen like that, men. And we know that friendships don't happen like that. So that does not give you an opening into a woman's world. That's not an opening. Especially not an 8, 10, 12, $16 drink. Come on. Really? That doesn't give you an opening. No. I can't say no, she's not, because some will, but most are not gonna go home with you for a drink either. Like, y'all get these things out of your head. I mean, if you come out to have a good time, that's what it is. You're going out to have a good time, listen to some music, maybe have a drink or two, whatever. Be with friends, be around people. That's what you're going out for. But a lot of people are not going out for that. A lot of people are coming out in search of other things. And it's not just men, it's women as well, but I can't speak from the men's point because I'm not a man. I can just speak from my point and what I see, what I've experienced, and it's I don't get it.
So, a couple of things that you brought up were really powerful about that part of the conversation tonight. So, to your point, first and foremost, you brought up something. When going out, technically speaking, like you said, there's a difference of ideologies in terms of what men and women are doing. First and foremost, for the most part, men are usually on the hunt. It doesn't make a difference where it is, the grocery store, the bar, the bus stop, the train, whatever, or your car, at the gas station. Men are usually on the hunt. That does not necessarily mean that every man, though, is looking to score and or to run you down or try to get your number or things like that. There are some men who just go out, again, they're social. They like being out in social environments. They like technically being in and around people where they can have a good time. And even if and when sometimes drinks or other gestures are done to the opposite sex, I don't know if it's always done with that intent in mind. I will say this. In this current climate,
Speak from the man's point of view.
yeah, I will say this in this current climate, especially with the men are concerned, is the mere fact that we're looking at over sexualized, over everything is overhyped in terms of how we see things. And this is unfortunately something that we have to deal with on both sides of the spectrum. Men are visual creatures, so anything, I'm not going to say remotely tight because that, is a broad range, but where clothes are concerned, where looks are concerned. And then there's just the mere fact that sometimes men are out and thinking to themselves, she seems nice. I wonder. In theory, to your point about conveying, I'm already in a relationship, already have something going on, that technically should be the end of the conversation. I can't speak to why all men or some men decide challenge accepted. You said that that's not what it was, but in his heart and his mind, it means open game, and it's an opportunity for me to prove to myself that I'm still got it, and she ain't just gonna be able to shut me down, with a kind word or two. Now, I'm not condoning any of this, behavior. What I'm saying to you, this is kind of the tete-a-tete or the match that you see going on a normal basis. And then there's something else that you mentioned, which is those people who are just out for, conquer, divide and conquer, or conquer, period. I like him, or I like her, and I'm going after it, and the only thing that's going to stop me is maybe a police report, or whatever. And I'm not condoning.
No, trust
but
me.
I'm just,
you just put something else in my mind. But go ahead.
But I'm just saying that, unfortunately, these are some of the ideologies that come up. And then, let's be fair, in the bar setting or certain settings, things like these wonderful margaritas that you see sitting here before us, or any other kind of drink or libation for that matter, gives people sometimes heart or gives them courage in different ways that they might not do under other circumstances. So to me, you always have to look at all the continuing factors or all the things that might go into that moment and why it's transpiring the way that it is. You know what I mean?
I like that. You were talking and you just watched like a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm like, oh God, where am I gonna go now? Because it's like so much going on right now. Okay, so let me see. I'm gonna start with staying here with meeting people at a bar or anywhere, just meeting someone. Hanging out frequently like we do. We frequent a lot of places, and we know people where we in those places that we frequent. In those places that we frequent, we form relationships with people. We form relationships with people because we see them all the time. So you say, hey, how you doing? This, that, other thing, that. But a lot of times, people think, and I'm finding I've lost a lot of male friends. I've lost more female friends, but I lost a lot of male friends because they feel, oh, if I can be her friend, eventually it can be more. And when you let them, when they finally get the courage to say, well, I like you in this way, and you tell them, I'm very outspoken, and you tell them, it's not like that. We're just friends. Next thing you know, you don't have that friend anymore. So it wasn't really a friend. It was they had intentions that you were not aware of. And there are people out there like that. And that's why I see or I understand and how when you're in a relationship, how your partner might not think it's okay, because a lot of times people have other intentions. But you can't control other people's intentions. And in a relationship, you have to be able to trust your partner. If I can't trust you, I don't need you. And that's the bottom line. If you can't trust me, you don't need me. Bottom line, like it's not. It's no other way that I can put that, because your partner has to be the one to shut it down. Your partner has to be the one to shut it down. You can't shut it down, because I'm gonna tell you this: if your partner wants it, whether you shut it down or not, you might shut it down tonight. But guess what? Tomorrow night, when he see that person, oh, it's on and popping. Because eventually he's gonna go for what he wants. She's gonna go for what she wants. It doesn't matter. You cannot shut it down. You can shut it down for a moment. That's it. That's all you can do. But you have to be able to trust your partner. If you can't trust them, there's no need. There is absolutely no need, because nobody should be that bogged down with anything. Like I can't. I want to be able. I have to be able to talk to my partner. I have to be able to talk to my partner. I need that open communication. I need that. So if I got a friend, I gotta say, you know what, this is my friend so and so. I even listen, come out, hang out with me and my friend, see how we vibe, watch all this. Like I come out and do that. If you can't do that, if you have a problem, and I have to start hiding things from you, this relationship is not gonna work. It's just not gonna work, because you have to be able to talk to your partner. Should be your best friend. Your partner should be your best friend, because your partner, you should be able to go home and tell everything to. You got a bad day at work. Yeah, anything that happened, you ought to be able to go home and talk to your partner. If I can't talk to my partner, I don't want it. I just don't want it, because I don't want to have to start hiding things because I gotta be careful about how you feel about something. That
Okay, so a couple of things that you said now that feel powerful. One, you're right. You should be able to talk to your partner about everything. I will preface that, just in my experience, that honestly isn't true. Just because anything that your partner shares with you, they first put it through their lens, and usually their lens is skewed a little bit. Just because, like I said, they've had.
should though. I didn't say you should.
No, I didn't say that. What I'm saying though is that's usually why that is the toughest thing to do, is because they're looking at through their lens, and their lens is usually skewed based off of their own experiences. And we, touched on this a little bit before, but we've shared that the healing process, whatever that looks like, because it's different for each and every person, that is a major part of how and why sometimes we can't share and do certain things, because we haven't healed the way that we could and we should, for our own selfish reasons sometimes, and then for reasons that are quite clear. You don't want to. I like being this type of person or that type of person. And again, we're not, saying that anybody's right or wrong. These are just things that you find yourself experiencing as you go through this journey. The other thing that you mentioned that I thought was powerful as well is, like you said, hopefully be in a space and in a situation where you have to trust your other person. Look, and everybody says, trust can be broken, and all that is true. So I'm not, here to refute that. But I will say this. The toughest conversation that you're probably going to have, to your point, is the ones where those moments did happen. And what were the end results? Excuse me. If and did they do anything to kind of work on that? Because a lot of times the reoccurrence is from the fact that, again, it was never addressed. It wasn't the fact that they wrong. Or I always say this, and again, this is just me speaking for me. I recognize patterns before I recognize anything else, which means I'm watching, to your point, as you said, how you interact with people and certain things, and I'm watching and I'm like, okay, that's a pattern with this person. I can't be upset about a pattern because that's who that person is. We sometimes, as men and women, tend to think and or feel as though I can break that pattern or I can change it. When the reality of it all is, you've been watching it for 4 years. It's not going to change. It ain't going to break. It's going to be what it is. Your real question to yourself is, can I deal with that pattern? Or like you said, is that something that I feel I'm okay about or whatever? And if you don't, you're right. Then let me make a beeline out there, or at least have the conversation with that person and go, look, this isn't going to work because you see things this way and I see things this way, and we have a difference of opinion. I will say this: let's learn how to be okay though with having a difference of opinion. Because boy, do we go, ape stuff when things aren't going the way that we anticipated or that we like. So I will say that. Please don't always take the fact that somebody has a different opinion or a different point of view or a different way that they, do something as a knock to you. That's their process. So, again, I say that with, humility, but I
Okay.
really do think that that's, something that we got to worry about.
Okay. All right. I think it's a little wrong, but okay. I get it. No. I get it. I get it. I get what you're saying. Um. Okay. And then that brings us into not just relationships but also friendships, because a lot of friendships end because people, and don't get me wrong, there are a lot of I've had this problem. Hard. There are some hard conversations that you don't want to have with your friends, so you let things go too long, and then they've gone too long where you can't come back, or it's hard to come back and you don't know how to get back. No, really, I've been there, I've done it, I know, I get it, because yeah, I listen, I've done it. It's hard sometimes to have those hard conversations with people, especially people that you care about, people that you love. And it's bad that we let those friendships die down, or go away, and then you miss the person, but you don't know how to get back to the person. You know what I'm saying? These are the things. So these are things like with friendships, like you know, we just have to learn how, like you said, we have to learn how to have those conversations. We have to learn how to have hard conversations with people. And jealousy within friendships, okay, too many of those. Way too many of those. If a person, anybody that knows me, and me and you know me, I go hard for my friends. I go hard for my friends. If you my friend and I love you, oh, I'm going hard. Can't nobody tell me nothing about you. Nobody better not even try to come and tell me nothing about you, because that's not even happening. I go hard for my friends. It's hard to find people like you. It's hard to find people like you. Um, and I don't know, female friendships for me are like, now don't get me wrong, I made mistakes. I can tell you a couple of people that, I miss daily, and it was my mistake. I can tell you that. I can tell you it was me. I'll be first one. But um, the jealousy in the relationship, and it wasn't that I was jealous of the person, just that I couldn't have that hard conversation with the person. But it wasn't jealousy, but a lot of times people hang around people, and in the back of their mind, I got pictures where I've taken pictures. We've gone out to settings, comedy shows, whatever, our girlfriends, and somebody will come in and take a picture with me, and in the background, I can see the friend's face, like, and I'm like, whoa. And I've seen the pictures. The pictures are there. I still have the pictures. There's a few people. They're no longer, people I consider friends, maybe associates here and there, but nobody that I really consider friend. But I'm like, why is it that we have to have this jealousy in a friendship? Because my friendship with you is not my friendship with the next person, or this person or that person. And one thing I don't do is I don't make everybody a friend. I don't call everybody a friend. Just because Amir is my friend and Amir got a friend, don't mean that friend got to be my friend. No, because I go off of energy. I go off people energy, and if me and your energy match, And hey, we can talk, we can vibe, we can. I'm not, listen. If not, I'm gonna sit back and I'm TV on. I'm watching TV. I'm drinking my drink, music on. I'm listening to my music. I'm doing everything else but paying attention to y'all because the energy is not there for me. And if it's not there, I'm not gonna fake energy. I'm not. I'm just not gonna fake energy. I'm not gonna do that. But but with these friends, like especially with females, I don't know how men. I know men say they have their issues as well, but I know like with females, it's that jealousy thing. Like, don't be jealous of the next person. Let the person live. If somebody loves it, somebody likes that person, and that person gets love, and this and that, so be it. So be it. Be who you are. Your personality and your relationship with people might not be the same personality and the same relationship that other people have. So don't be. I mean that. I mean, go ahead.
I mean, again, you bring up a valid point. It's funny. In my experience, I've always thought to myself, when you see jealousy or things of that magnitude, it's usually stemming from the person to some degree wanting to be you or like you. And I know that sounds interesting, odd, or crazy. But I always think of it from that standpoint because, to your point, what other reason would you be jealous of somebody? Look, I do all the same things you do. We breathe the same air. We go in and out of some of the same places, or whatever the case may be. Mine might be with a different flair, but that's because everybody and everything in this dynamic is created uniquely to be that. When I think about, like you said, our hanging out and, like you said, the relationships and friendships and situationships and associations and things that we had over the years. Everybody fits a different mold. We've had people who have been wonderful from afar, meaning no matter when we saw them, they were sitting some distance away, but they always acknowledged and we acknowledged them. And you got your up close and personal people who come and want to be in the mix. And, hey, what's going on? And so forth and so on. And I think because of all these, various energies and personalities, to your point, you have to kind of figure out where you are in the moment and what's most conducive to you and the moment. Because somebody or the wrong energy can come and change everything in a blink. And now we all sitting there awkwardly and like, what are we supposed to do now? I find again that where jealousy is concerned, like you said, whether it's men, whether it's women, or whatever the case may be, to me it's usually just, I wish maybe I was as outgoing as that person, or I had the gumption like that person has, where people seem to migrate and be around them. Even, with our, friendship, like you said, when we're out and about, and, again, depending on what the environment is, we just tend to draw people to us. One, like I said, based off our conversation, but then based off of the fact that we're just having such a good time. I come out to have a good time so that I can release the tension and the other stuff that's going on in my life that, sometimes I don't either want to talk about, or I don't, I'm not dealing with it in the moment. So I take that moment to, give me a moment to woosah, think a little bit different, or be in, some different space. Music, as because you and I hang out together, is my place. We get the music going right, everything else is going to fall into place as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
But everybody, again, doesn't have that kind of self-awareness. So many people don't really know where to go and what to do to bring themselves joy. And I think that's, something else that runs, congruent in all of these relationship conversations that we have, and is clear understanding of self, meaning it's not significant other, it's not your best friend, it's not your close friend job to make you happy. That's an inside job.
Absolutely.
And when you start really understanding that and you start working from that perspective, everything else to me seems to fall in place, because if you're depending on somebody else, then they can cut that off. You say we're going to hang out and they hit you with the, well, I can't make it. Now you pissed off.
Right.
Based off of, somebody else giving you in your mind what you think they're giving you versus you knowing I'm just going to go out and be the best version of myself that I can be, and I'll let the rest of the world figure it out.
Right, and
You
that's what
know?
I tell people all the time. If you can't enjoy your own company, who's gonna enjoy your company? Who else gonna enjoy you? You have to first be able to enjoy your own company. And me, I go out by myself all the time. Like when I come out, I'm coming out solo. I am not calling on nobody saying, "Hey, you come in this set up." No, I'm going out solo. When I get there, I might meet people. I meet people all the time, and that's one thing about going out because you're gonna meet people all the time. I meet people all the time, and if I and even people that I already know, they'll walk in and be like, "Oh, you here?" And we all just sit down. I mean, and it wasn't planned. It's just something that happens. And but you have to be comfortable with yourself because if they didn't show up, what you gonna do? You gonna sit there and just sit there looking? No, enjoy yourself, have fun. Eventually somebody will come up or you'll see somebody in a conversation will start or something will happen. But just have to first be comfortable in your own skin. And that's one thing about people. People are not comfortable in their own skin. Oh, it just started. I just thought, go ahead, Amir, go ahead. Go ahead, because something else just popped up that has nothing to do with this, but
But no,
it just popped up.
again, like I said, you make a valid point with that, point right there. Being comfortable in your own skin is so paramount to any and all relationships. I don't care whether it's, like you said, a personal one, man and woman, friendships, whatever the case may be. Because what happens is, as long as you're not comfortable, then the people who you're attached to, they're not comfortable as well because they don't know what their role is in the
Exactly.
situation. Because
Exactly.
they're feeding, to some degree, they're feeding off of you. And we have to be mindful of that, or should be mindful of it, because in theory, I would like to believe we're all going out with the same ideology in mind, meaning to have a great experience, to enjoy ourselves, and then let that flow into whatever else is supposed to transpire in your life, in your day, in your evening. And that starts with, again, you. Once you kind of get you together, everything else, is going to be all right. You know what I mean?
Yes. Okay, now this brings me to another point. So, and y'all saw me looking down. Yeah, I was cheating because I wrote it down earlier because it was something I had thought about. And I didn't want to forget it, and I almost did until I looked at it. But um, sticking with friendships. So we're at an age now where I believe we're a little too old for certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you just gonna drink right in the can. It's all right though. Just
That's what we
drink it
do.
again. Drink it again. No, just joking. But anyway, but but we're a little too old for like certain things. Like I can't because you're not friends with somebody doesn't mean that I'm not friends with somebody. Especially if we're all friends. If we're all friends, it's unfair to expect your friend not to be friends with the person that you're not speaking to now in your friend group because y'all are not speaking because you want to you want to pick a side. No, it's not pick a side because you know what? Let me tell y'all something. At the end of the day, those two people, if y'all are in the same friend group, those two people are going to speak again. What's going to happen with your relationship with that person that you stop speaking to? So if you're in a friend group and two people fall out all the time, that's what friends do. Friends fall out, they get back friends. This is what happens. But when you put yourself in the middle, when you put yourself in the middle of that, and you pause because you decided to pick a side, when those two people come back together, guess what? That person that you picked a side against is not going to pick your side. They're still going to be friends with that person and not be and still be friends with you. Why? Because they cherish both friendships, or they may cherish that other friendship more than they cherish you. So why even put yourself through that? And this is where a lot of the friction and stuff comes from within friend groups because everybody wants somebody to pick a side, and you shouldn't have to pick a side. And my thing is, if you stay out of it, because I can hear you all day long. I'll hear you all day long. I'll listen to you all day long. Am I putting my 2 cents in it? Nope. Absolutely not. I'm not gonna put my 2 cents in it. Are you right? Are you wrong? I don't know. I'm not putting my 2 cents in it. Why? Because it's not my business. That's between the two of you. Y'all need to work that out. And when y'all do, then we all go, yeah, girl, yeah, she shouldn't have did that. This and that. Y'all gonna get back to you and guess what you're gonna do? Oh, girl, she's. And next thing you know, now I got a problem because you had a problem, and now you made me the problem. No, stay out of it. Listen to hear. That's it. Every conversation does not need a response. Doesn't need a response. When somebody's talking to you, then let them vent. Sometimes people just need to vent. Let them vent. It doesn't mean that you got to be a therapist. You are not a therapist unless you are a therapist. You're not a therapist. So let them vent. And that's it.
It's so funny. So a couple of things come to mind since you brought that up. The first thing that comes to mind is this wonderful thing that they've been doing. We listen, but we don't judge. If you haven't seen these idiotic things on Instagram, they're hilarious. And this is between friends. I saw one today between a mother and son. That was hilarious. But she's right. If you're in a friendship or a group friendship, you have to start understanding that just like your brothers and your siblings, just like your cousins, you got a cousin that you don't really rock with, but they're your goddamn cousin. So you rock with them because they're your cousin. You, the world could be, hey, that's my cousin, watch him out. I'm just saying, we really have to get to a point where we start understanding that sharing information, whatever that may be, isn't for me to judge. Like you said, you're venting to me, you're sharing with me, meaning you're trying to get something off of your chest or you're trying to release something that is a burden to or for you. So my job as a friend is to listen and just go, okay. Now, I'm the kind of friend that goes, well, did you discuss that with that friend so that y'all can figure this out? And if you say to me no, then that's on y'all. The other thing that I want to address, which is an elephant in the room to me, is to a point that she just made. Y'all stop with the we gotta choose. Y'all got beef. I don't got beef with that person. It's not until they've done something to me, then me and that person now have an issue or beef or whatever it is. As long as they haven't done anything to me, that's not where I'm at with it. And I think that we have to really figure that out because I've seen so many different friendships, relationships, and all kind of things fall to the wayside because, well, I'm beefing with them. You don't got to beef with them. I didn't get to beef with them. And chances are, at least from my experience again, usually the beef be so silly and non-sequential. Because we, in our own egos and our own brilliance, I felt disrespected. Look, people are going to have their ideology of who and what they think you are. That is not for you to understand. Remember, they're looking at it through their lens. They've never been with you in the darkest moments. They've never been with you where things are, both your backs are up against the wall and you came out and made sure that all was well. So they really don't know your character. They know what they think they know of you. And we have to stop getting confused by them. I think you don't know that person. I always say this, you heard us share this. The conversations that we've had over the 10-year span or so, some of them have been so deep that I had to go home and pray. Like, Jesus, wow. But it's not because it was a bad thing. It was because, one, she trusted me enough to share. And two, my friend is really going through something. And if nothing else, I want to see them come out on the other side of it and be the strongest, best version of themselves that they could possibly be. Because if that's not what we're doing in our friendship or relationships, then why are we friends and why are we in a relationship? I'm not here I'm here to see my people and my friends be the absolute best they can be. Because to me, that's what a real true friendship and relationship is. It isn't let me tear this person down because they did something that I didn't like, or they feel away, or they don't agree with something that I agree with. That's silly to me. So I hope that we really get better at understanding. The job here is to uplift your friends, uplift the people in your life, and put them in again the best position they can be in to win. You know what I mean?
That's right. Okay, guess what?
Yeah.
We went over.
Look, as she
We
told you,
went
these
over.
conversations, this is what happened. This is why we thought it was so great to bring this to you guys, because this is how our conversations
Yeah.
honestly go. We
Yeah.
start talking about one thing, and before you know it, we've got a million topics.
Right.
But the truth is, we're one coming from the heart, and two, we're giving our best version of what we think and how we feel about the moment. And we hope that you are taking that or picking that up from what we're sharing with you, because you see me, I'm taking sips.
In
This
the
is what we
camera.
do.
All up in the camera.
This is what we do. But this is but to be fair, how many of you really find yourselves in situations where that's when you're openly most honest? Is when you're in vulnerable situations where you might be drinking or whatever the case may be. That's really when you tune in and you allow your friends to come into whatever it is you're dealing with, or you go into whatever they're dealing with. And that's what this is all about. So, look, this is another great episode. I hope
Another great
you
one.
guys get a chance to, again, check everything out, leave us some feedback. Most importantly, comment, because we love the comments, because that allows us to then give you guys more in-depth information or go deeper if that's what you so choose or so would like. Like you said, ride or die, best friend.
Right.
What can I say?
Right.
That's how I feel about it. You see, I get lost in words, because to me, and we didn't clearly say this, but I think there were friendships and relationships that sometimes transcend some of the other things that we're used to. But that's because the love comes from a different place, the energy comes from a different place, and it doesn't mean that your significant other, you don't love them, you don't care about them, because that's the first thing. How could you say that about me? This has nothing to do with you. Settle down. Settle down. You're all right. You still on numero uno. We got you.
That's
It's
right.
just its own journey, its own energy, its own space. And to what she said earlier, hopefully you can allow for that. You don't take offense to it. You don't think that, oh my God, it's stepping on my toes. It's not.
It's not. It's not. It's not. Thank you all for watching again. Oh my God, this is so beautiful. Yeah, I can't believe we just went totally over. We apologize to you all, but hopefully you all were enjoying it as much as we were talking about it and didn't even notice at the time it had gone. But we thank you. We thank you for taking the time out to even watch it. And please, please, please leave us these comments, please. Whether you liked it, whether you didn't like it, maybe it's something we said that you didn't like, or maybe you want to expound on something that we said. Please leave it in the comments. Let us know what you think. We thank you, we thank you, we thank you, and see you in 2 weeks. We will be back in 2 weeks. Have a great day.